All right, thank you for everyone for coming. We are just going to give it another minute before we start. We're going to give everybody a chance to log in and get the webinar up and running and all the headphones plugged in and all that. So bear with us for one more minute and we'll start the presentation. And again, if you're just joining us, we're just going to give everybody a chance to log in. So it'll be just another 30 seconds or so. All right, thank you everyone for coming. I know that everybody's time is limited here. I promise we will make this as informative and brief as possible. My name is Sean Donahue. I am the VP of Marketing here at Miro Consulting. This presentation is on Oracle Java and was prepared by Tim Hegedus, our Director of Technical Services. And I will just start off by telling you, if you are one of those people who's like me and you try to write down everything you see in the webinar and you try to screenshot all the slides, don't kill your hand. What we're going to do afterward is we're going to send you a guide, a Java guide that has every table, every piece of information, every reference. It's a lot of information, so don't be overwhelmed that you've got to write down all these version numbers and dates and all this other stuff. Not at all. We will send you something right after the event, I promise. So before we get started, let's just talk about who Miro is. Miro Consulting is the leading global provider of software asset management and subscription management services for Oracle, Microsoft, IBM, Amazon Web Services, and Salesforce. We specialize in license management, audit advisory, negotiation tactics, support management, and cloud services. And with all those, we're always trying to save you money as well. Okay. There we go. Our mission is to help our clients maximize the ROI on their software licenses, subscription investments, stay in compliance, and negotiate successful contracts and audit settlements. And like I said, particularly with things like Amazon Web Services and Salesforce, we also really focus on saving you money. So let's get right into it. So what we're going to talk about today, Java has changed a lot since Oracle announced in 2019 that they are now going to charge a subscription for Java. So we have 4 releases. We're going to talk about which releases are free. We're going to talk about which releases come at a cost. We're going to talk about third-party releases. We are going to talk about Java sales inquiries in terms of, what's the difference between a Java sales inquiry and an audit. So we are also going to talk about the takeaways and the conclusions as well as everything else. And just to keep in mind, when you work with us, we have a performance guarantee that we will always save you or have cost avoidance be more than the sum of our fees. All right, so let's, with that, take it away and go to the next slide. All right, so I just want to start off with a quick question here. What is your plan with Java? Have you, have you decided, have you figured out your current usage? So you just launched a poll here. You should have a poll pop up on your screen. I'm going to give everybody about 15 seconds to give me an answer. Has your organization reviewed where it's using its Java? If not, you should have. But if not, it's a really good idea to really start to take a look at that now because, man, Java is everywhere. I joke that if you get a greeting card that sings you happy birthday, it probably has Java in it. It's pretty much safe to assume. It's just easier to assume that most of your devices just assume they have Java as opposed to trying to determine. But you got to know. You got to really know what your exposure is. So, all right, I'm going to close the poll. Thank you very much. It looks like, yes, a good half of you have already started. That is great to hear. We are very happy to hear you guys have gotten started with that. Thank you very much for answering our questions. Let's keep going with the presentation. All right, so what's new? Here's the new exciting part. In January 2023, Oracle announced a new per employee metric requiring all employees to be licensed for Java, even if they don't use a computer at all. If you have an employee who rakes leaves all day, they need a Java license. So that is Oracle's new announcement that they have made. And you could see here, it's pretty, keep doing the wrong thing. It's a pretty extensive definition of what your employees are in terms of, hold on, I went wrong slide here. Okay, sorry about that. So here we go. It's very extensive as to what your employees actually are. Your full-time, your part-time, your temporary, your contractors, your agents, your outsources, your dog. Okay, maybe not your dog, but everybody who's a person at your organization, according to Oracle, needs to have a license. And that's very important. Now, this is the new metric, and I do have something new for April 2023. Miro has had clients who have successfully bought Java under the old metrics after the deadline. So if you're an organization out there and you really do not like this per employee metric because it just does not fit your business model, contact us. We might be able to help. Not going to guarantee it, but we might be able to help you find a way to buy licenses and subscriptions on the old version, which was per processor, per computer, think of it, not per person. All right, so these are the monthly numbers for the cost on how much does it cost per employee, and you can see it discounts down. The more employees you have, the more licenses you purchase, the cheaper it is per month. All the way up to 50,000 employees, where Oracle will essentially find some custom pricing for you. And this was different from the per processor, per name user plus that had previously been. Now, we said that the per processor licensing originally was only available to March 2023. Obviously, that date has passed. But like I said, we've had clients who successfully signed under these old metrics after the March deadline. So contact us if you want to know. And just wanted to point out there that, these are the list prices. Oracle will expect some sort of negotiation on your part. So don't take these as the final numbers. Okay, so you might have questioned, what if you already purchased your Java under the old metrics? Well, the answer is your luck. You don't need to purchase additional licensing. You don't need to worry about per employee. Your existing Java metrics, your existing licenses completely cover you. You'll be fine. You don't need to do anything. So if you already did, good for you for getting ahead of the game. And if I didn't mention it earlier, if you have any questions, please submit them in our question box. We will answer them at the end of the session. I have an entire team of analysts standing by waiting to answer your questions to make sure you get it from the best source. Okay, something you really should know. Java phones home. So Oracle tracks the IP addresses of computers that download Java. It might track more, but we do know it tracks IP. When you install Java, or your user installs Java, or a piece of software installs Java, it's by default, it will have that call home feature turned on. And by default, again, it will auto update itself from a free version to a paid version, unless you turn off the auto updates, which of course has its own issues. So keep that in mind. If your plan was essentially do nothing and hope for the best, your Java installations are very probably being monitored if you have not changed these default settings. If you don't know how and want help, and you want to know more, help finding it, we can help you with that. All right, so let's talk about some older versions of Java, because sometimes they're still on older machines and people still have them, in older software. So for the modern era, we're really talking about Java 5 and 6. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Those are the ones that are older that you might still find out there in the wild. Java 5 and 6 are on sustaining support only. 7 and 8 is still in Premier or extended support. So they're still being supported for the important things. And then Java, there's also the Java Web Start, and the last version is going to be Java 8 extended support, which will terminate in 2030. So there are versions of Java that are older, but they are licensable. So this is one of the big misinformation you may run across from some of our competitors and some other voices in the market. They might tell you, oh, if you have an old version of Java, you don't need to worry about the license. That is wrong. So here is some of that table information that I wanted to show you guys. So let's talk about Java 8, just as an example, and you can infer the rest. Java 8, the last release, free release is 8.202, and the first paid release is 8.211. So if you're 211 or higher, you've got a paid version. But if you're 202 or lower, 202 or lower, you have a free version. And if you're wondering, how are my end users supposed to manage this and figure this out? Well, I think we both know the answer to that is they're not. You guys as people here, if you're here, you're probably either on the procurement side, the IT side, the executive side. You need to worry about this for your users. If you find that your organization is still using these, don't fall under the impression that these old versions, 5, 6, 7, and 8, are sometimes free, sometimes not. We'll send you this table after so you can check. And just so you're clear on what long-term support means, you don't want to find yourself a free version of Java that expires in 6 months, which some do. We'll show you. So what's this really mean? Long-term support means it's going to be like, I don't want to say a flagship version, but a long-term version is the best way to think of it. They're going to support that version for 5 years. So let's say, and then there's also non-long-term versions, which will only get 6 months of support. So when you're looking at this, make sure you pay attention to which version is a long-term or not long-term, or you're going to have to be worrying about this every 6 months. So this is what I meant in terms of, here are the long-term support. That's my second column there. It says LTS. And you could see here whether or not they are free. So if you look at this chart, I want you to look at release number 17 in red. That's the one you guys are here probably looking for. So take a look at 17. It is a long-term support version. It is free for now. We have not heard it's paid yet. It released 2021 in September. It's premier until 2026. Take a look at how that is different than number 18. Number 18 was also free, but it is out of support as of September 2022. So 17 is the newer, 17 is the version still supported. Meanwhile, 18 is not supported anymore. 19 is just went out of support 4 days ago. And now 20 is the newest short-term version. Now we have 21 coming out, which is scheduled for September of this year. We don't know if it's going to be free or not. We haven't heard. I don't think it's been determined yet. So again, we will send you this whole chart so you can see exactly what versions you have and where they are in the life cycle. So let's just quickly mention what's covered in extended support, what isn't. You get all the good stuff. You get the bug fixes, you get security fixes, you get upgrades. You can see it all here, technical support. The only thing you're not getting in extended support is you're not getting coverage for third-party products. So if your Java usage is embedded in your own third-party product or someone else's you're using, they're not covered in extended support. Okay, so what are your options? Let's start talking about. Besides Oracle, there are other versions. So as you can imagine, as soon as Oracle announced that Java would be a paid subscription, many organizations felt that Java usage is so ubiquitous, like I said earlier, that they were going to make their own versions. And here are the versions. Here's just some of the bigger versions. So Microsoft has their own version. You can see here, AWS has a version, IBM has a version, Red Hat has, there's an open source version called OpenJDK. These are all relatively easily available, but I want to warn you of one thing. We've had clients who were going down this path and their cybersecurity team stopped them dead in their tracks and said, no, I don't know anything about this open source Java. I don't know anything about Red Hat. And they said, no, we do not feel that it is a safety, it is safe to go with another option besides the Oracle Java. So if you think that this might be an option for you, make sure you talk with your internal technology teams, whether there are going to be any roadblocks to this type of change you want to make. Because again, we've seen people get halfway down this road and find out it's not an option. All right, so speaking of plans, let's talk about what your organization's plan is for Java. So here's my quick poll. Again, I'm going to give everybody 15 seconds to answer this poll because I don't like to sit on polls for very long. So what are you going to do? Now, you have a couple choices. You could purchase it. You could wait and see. You could just strip it out of everywhere. We've talked to people who've done that. You can migrate to just the free versions. You can go with an open source version. If for some reason you're a type of organization that loves open source software and uses it a lot, yeah, that's an option. And we talk to a lot of organizations that don't have really any plan at all. They haven't heard, they don't know, they haven't seen, they're just going to do nothing. So that's it. That's my 15-second poll. It looks pretty evenly split across the board, with most people saying they actually don't have a current plan. So I'm going to end our poll now and move on to our next slide. Thank you again for sharing. Let's pop on the next one. So this I will go through very quickly. Oracle's binary code license agreement. So really, I just want to say here that keep in mind that different versions of Java have different licensing agreements. And if you're looking at the wrong one, you can be really led astray. This is a very common mistake with Oracle licensing. People pull out a contract. They think they're looking at the right contract or the right terms or the right support, and they're looking at the wrong document. So keep in mind here, you've got at least 3 different versions of Oracle coding license agreements, conditions, terms that apply to different versions of Java. All right. So next I wanted to talk about, Java audits. So if you are under any impression that Java audits are something for the future, they are not. They are happening right now. We've had clients who have been audited by Java. We've had prospects reach out to us that have been had their Java audited. It is picking up steam very rapidly. But I wanted to mention it here because a lot of times these Java audits don't really start like a normal Oracle audit. A lot of times you could sort of see them coming when your Oracle, if your Oracle sales rep starts asking you lots of questions about Java, or if you called up and asked for pricing, something like that. If you started the conversation, you can very much be audited for Java. You will still get some sort of letter if it's a actual real formal one, but it can, a lot of the motion of the audit can start before it becomes formal. So really be careful there and know that Java audits are real. Now, if you guys remember Oracle LMS, License Managed Services, they've changed their name sort of, maybe halfway, but the new enforcement arm is called GLASS. They're called Global License Advisory Services. So if you end up on a call with a rep and there's someone from that team there, you should be concerned. You should be concerned that your compliance is correct. You can see here where they used to ask you for workstations. Now they might ask you for employees. They might just look it up online and see if they can, if your website will tell them how many employees you have, just so they can, decide how much they should be charging you. So one thing that, again, I wanted to mention here is, what is your risk? What is your audit risk? And the first question you should ask yourself is, can my users install, update, upgrade Java on their own? Because if they can, that might be an issue for you. Something you should definitely look into. And second, when it comes to risk, we just want to say, don't negotiate by yourself. Bring in a team that has done dozens of these Java audits. It's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Oracle audits. Bring in someone with experience, because the Java team, they're going to have experience dealing with and negotiating with employees of other organizations like you, their clients like you. So bring in your own experts, bring in your own big guns. That's what we recommend. Okay, we are going to talk about, is your plan to buy a subscription? Well, maybe, and we talked to a lot of people who this was their plan. Their plan was, I'm just going to buy a 1-year subscription, cover myself, and during that 1 year, I'm going to move my organization off of Java, which is a great plan that isn't going to work at all. And here's the reason why. If you look at that 1-year term, it comes with full back usage fees. So that 1-year term comes with a 4 or 5 year bill on it. It's called 4-year bill, going backwards. So if you were looking just to sign a 1-year contract, before Oracle comes knocking, that is before you're forced to, that is what happens. There is full back usage fees for that 1-year contract. You get half of those fees if you sign a 3-year contract. The only way to avoid them entirely and get a discount is to do the full 5 years. So this is really one of the most important takeaways of this presentation, is that you will need it sooner or later. And this is what the current offers look like. And I will remind the audience again, if you are absolutely determined that you want to get that old metric and not do it per employee, give us a call. We might be able to help. All right, and I want to do my last poll here. Have you been audited for Java? And like I said, we've had a couple of clients who have been audited. We have a few who are expecting to be audited. But we have a whole lot who haven't been, and the best word is yet. But they've been approached, they've been talked to. They have been in the works. And that's why I put in here, not audited yet, but, writing is on the wall. There are signs. And like I said, it's always great to get out ahead of time. So as expected, I didn't think most of you have been audited yet. It's a big world out there, but Oracle is moving faster than ever. Thank you for answering. All right. So what are the conclusions we want to give you, takeaways? Well, number one, we're going to send you that chart. Again, we're going to send you the full chart. You started, if you came in late, we're going to send you a Java guide that'll have all those charts in it, and so you can reference it whenever you need. But the other takeaways here I want to talk about is the release of Java at your organization is probably licensable. It is a narrow window to not be licensed and be free, so check that out. There are long-term and non-long-term support. Don't migrate your entire organization to a version of Java that as soon as you're done, you're going to have to start all over again. There are a lot of alternatives. There are I won't say free Javas, but there are open source. There are other organizations. There are versions you don't have to pay for that are not Oracle's versions. So take a look and see if they're available for you, if that is something that appeals to your organization. Make sure you know which ones you're running. I mentioned that. Carefully look at any proposal that Oracle gives you in terms of a Java subscription or any other type of license agreement. Always best to have it reviewed by an expert. There's lots of gotchas. That Oracle's not trying to put gotchas in their contracts. Oracle's standard language simply differs than a lot of the things a lot of organizations expect. And they're not putting in things just to target individual organizations. It's just their standard language. And sometimes it can be interpreted different than you might expect. So make sure that you have an expert reviewing those proposals. And understand, do like I put in that first poll, figure out what you need to spend. Figure out what's going to cost, figure out what do you need to do to get in compliance, what's your road to get there. So what should you do now? Well, you could do nothing. We don't recommend this. Oracle will come sooner or later. Like I said, it knows the Java usage at your organization. You should be aware of what Java you have. You should know if your users can update themselves out of compliance, because we found that that's a very common thing. We found that an IT department will really do a great job getting everybody in compliance, getting all the machines right, and then somebody updates themselves right out of compliance 5 minutes later. Know your alternatives, and like I said before, get expert help. And with that, I want to turn it over to our questions. If you have questions, please put them in the question box. I will mention a few real quick just to get us started that we've had some answers to. So we have someone who said we signed up under the old named user processor metric, and it's up for renewal. Before we obtain a new quote to renew as is, sales is saying they need a sales inventory review, not an audit. Yeah, okay, not an audit. To be approved to retain existing license metrics. Is this a normal tactic? What do you suggest? And the answer we have from my analyst is that Oracle has stated that if a customer has previously purchased Java under the previous Java metrics, they would be able to continue to buy those metrics going forward. What you described may be potentially a sales tactic. I agree with that. I would say that this is a good opportunity to mention, you should have a audit plan. You should have some standard rules at your organization. Who is supposed to talk to the vendor, who's not supposed to talk to the vendor, what you can and cannot tell them. As an IT leader, this should be a policy that you have, a software compliance policy. So yes, I would be very wary of that kind of unusual sounding thing from the sales rep. But again, I don't want to comment any more deeply until we had specific details. So if you want to talk to us afterward, we'd be more than happy to speak with you and go over the exact nature of your situation. All right. Is there a specific ISV certified vendors that are exempt from the Oracle Java subscription? We don't know of any. We don't know of any. And if you think we have a lot of people in public sector on this call, We have a few of my clients as well. Thank you, my clients, for coming. But we have a lot of public sector people on this call, and you are absolutely not exempt, not even close. In fact, public sector, we have found, has been one of the areas we've seen audits popping up more often. Because in any economy, we know that the government's not going out of business. So we don't know of any exemptions for anyone. If you hear of one, let us know, but that's not really within Oracle's nature. All right, I think I messed up. Java allows their software to be free for years, let you get dependent on it, and now they essentially want you to have a subscription. Yeah, people are not thrilled about it. But the good news there is you really aren't forced to if you instead, if you really can, you can go with other options. All right. If you can, Oracle will call you at some point and says, we want to talk about your Java usage. And if you could turn around and say, we don't use your Java, that's an option. It's not an easy option, but these types of things come up at business sometimes. The good news is you have, if they're not knocking on your door today, you have time to make decisions. But keep in mind, they could change the pricing. Oracle could decide to charge double tomorrow. So the risk factor goes both ways here. And we advise everyone to get yourself in a compliance situation, whether that is purchasing Oracle Java subscriptions or moving off or doing whatever you need to do, just get into a compliance situation. We have a few more here that we're going to do. Are there tools to find out how many servers, PCs that have Oracle on it? Does it give the version? There are, but what we have found with those tools is that a lot of times they miss things. So what the most common thing that happens is somebody sets a tool to scan the network, let's call it, or the servers, or whatever it is. That tool gets blocked because it doesn't have security access to get through a certain door, so to speak. We've had people miss entire server farms because their tool missed it, and then they were dependent on the tools for outcome, and they found out they were wildly out of compliance because their tool failed them. So there are tools. Some of them do a better job than others, but we always recommend experts over tools because a lot of the times the things come up when our experts are working with your team to do this exact type of search, other things come up. And the tools don't know the rules, and our analysts do. And they'll advise you if something else comes up while doing that research. So that's why we recommend it. That's not to say that you shouldn't use any tools. Obviously, we're going to use some command line tools to promote into, you'll use command line tools to promote into your service, stuff like that. So it's not like it's nothing, but if you're thinking there's a software you can buy off the market that's one easy win button that just grabs everything for you, no. Do you recommend a standard software compliance policy document to get started with? Yeah, that's a good start. We can help you with that. We have some great recommendations on how to get that started. Obviously, you could just Google it, but I would always say document everything. Document any policy you have. If you don't have it documented, it's really not a policy. And make sure your people understand it. It's one thing to have a policy. It's one thing to document a policy. It's quite another to make sure everybody on your team knows if they get a phone call from somebody, that says, oh, hey, I need your whole server deployment. Can you send me an Excel file? If that guy doesn't know or doesn't care, and he says, yeah, sure, here you go. And he does it because he just doesn't know any better. Well, there's all your information out the door. So let's see. Could you be entitled? Oops. Did we just, one of mine flipped to answered. Could you be entitled to run Java if you have yes. So some Oracle applications do come with Java. Typically, I think almost always. You can use Java, but only with that one tool. So WebLogic comes with Java. You don't need a separate license for Java for that WebLogic product. It comes included with the WebLogic license. However, that does not give you the right to use Java anywhere else in any other way. So for a product that comes with, I believe it's 100% of the time, I'm not positive, most of the time at least, let's say, if the product comes with Java, you don't need another Java license for it. But if it doesn't count for everything else. Are there tools to uninstall Oracle Java completely? I've got my team answering that now. The person who said that one, I will come back to that question as my team is typing out their answers. Are there tools to find? Oh, we answered that one already, and well, we answered those two. So if you have any more questions, I know we are just hitting our 3 o'clock marker now. Again, you can always talk to us after. I have our email on the screen here. You can call us up. You can contact us on the web. So if you have any further questions, okay, are there any tools? The last one here was, are there any tools so while I'm still waiting for an answer here, I'll just remind everyone that, again, the difference between working with Miro and working with other people is that we have a performance guarantee. We're going to come in, we're going to save you money, or we're going to help you avoid penalty costs and compliance costs that you would have had that would cost you real dollars out the door. And we always make a promise that our fees will be less than the money you save. So that is super important to know. And again, I will remind everyone, if you don't like these new metrics, give us a call. We might be able to help you. We have one more open one that just popped in here while I'm still waiting for my answer. What does a Java audit look like? That is kind of a bigger question, but essentially, Oracle is going to ask you information about your Java deployment. They typically use worksheets that they want you to fill out. They may make you run scripts. It essentially, it's going to come down to, when they first talk to you, how organized are you? If you present a very well-documented, very pretty kind of chart of what your Java usage is, like you just went out and did all your own research, they are much more likely to say, okay, this looks right. If you come back with something that looks like a second grader's book report and is all kind of a mess, they're going to probably ask you to run scripts. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee in either side, but that is typically how the process goes. Let's see if I got my last answer. Okay, in reference to the question of applications that include Java, does it really matter since they moved to a per person model? Things can change at any second. They could go back, they could offer both. They could tell you that you fit in a certain category, that they want to do it the old way instead of the new way. So yeah, it matters. It matters to know, simply because this employee metric thing, it is new. It could go away any day. It could be the license compliance rules for the next 50 years. I don't know. So I would highly recommend that you know at a hardware level what is running Java and what is not. Let's see if I got my last answer here. Are there tools to uninstall Java completely? Yes. There's Java Usage Tracker, Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkit, as well as SCCM. I'm not sure what that stands for. They vary on what they can do. They vary on how accurate they are. But more importantly, what you should remember is, if you're going to uninstall Java completely without putting something else in its place, you're probably going to break a lot of stuff. Java, as we all know, is at the base of a lot of our technology stacks. So, and I'm sorry, there's also another option, Java removal tool, or the Java uninstall tool. Yeah, not technically hard to do, but if your machine or your software was dependent on that Java and you don't replace it with something else, you could break things. So I would recommend not doing that blindly without the technical expertise to deal with the consequences, because once you remove Java, you may not be able to get it back in. There's a wide variety of stuff out there. So I think that is the last question. You got a question here. I'm going to do my wrap up. You got 10 seconds to put it in, but otherwise, thank you. We really appreciate your time. I will follow up right after this. We will send you that document with all of the information, and we're here to help you. Just give us a call. We don't charge just to talk. So we would love to discuss your situation, how to help you with new metrics, how to help you with old metrics, and how to basically avoid an audit. And if you are audited, how to get through it successfully. Many of our clients, when they are audited, end up paying nothing because they are completely in compliance. So that's it. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to post this as a webinar video, online, so you can review the whole video or share it with some of your colleagues who might not have been able to make it. Thank you very, very much for coming. This was Miro Consulting's presentation on Java. Have a great day.